Hello, my name is Grian, and today we're going to be making our house more festive. As you can see, I've got my Christmas skin on. Yes, I know, I look very cute. What we've got here is the house that we made earlier this week. So if you want to use this exact house for making this festivities happen, then by all means check out the tutorial, which will be in the description. So anyway, this is a suburban house. It's very cool. I'm very happy with how this has turned out. What we're going to do is 12 very easy and small things to make this house look more festive, attuned to the holiday season. So let's get straight into it. The first one we're going to do is add snow. I'm sure most of you saw this coming. It is very easy to do, which is also why we made the roof here out of a full block. As we cannot place snow on top of the staircases here, you might want to change your roof to just be a full block like it is here, and then start adding snow galore. Now this is going to take a little while. I will admit this is going to take quite some time. So you want to take your little, I don't know what you'd call it, your small snow block, your layered one, and just build them up at random intervals, and overall make your way around the entire build. And once you've done the rest of the roof, you want to make sure that you put some snow down here on the floor as well, but probably make it look like the pathway has been cleared, so you want to sort of stack it up either side and have it sort of bleed into the path itself. Now, obviously, I'm not going to turn this entire world into a winter wonderland, but that step on its own makes a massive difference. This is the biggest one. And while we're still on the subject of snow, the next step is to make a snowman. So I'm going to have to put this over here in this little segment, because building a small snowman is possible if you're willing just to have a snow golem. Now, a lot of people don't actually know is you can place, make your snow golem like that, and he'll run around by himself. But if you take a pair of shears, you can actually remove his pumpkin head, and there he is. He's got a little goofy smile. He's kind of cute, but also at the same time he's a little bit creepy. Either way, you can use mobs to be your snowmen for your house, but they do have a tendency to wander off. So what we're going to make, of course, is a built snowman. But making a snowman is no easy feat, because you need to make it very, very large. So what we're going to do is start off with a 3x3 base layer. We got ourselves a 3x3 cube, and then on each face of it, we're going to add another 3x3 face. So there's our bottom bit, and we make another 3x3 cube. Add a little bit of side hip here. And then what we're going to do is take green wool and red wool, and we're going to make a little scarf for him. Alternate all the way around. And then remove this one, add a red bit, green bit, and then a red one underneath. So that's his scarf. And now we're going to make a quick face for him. So instead of making a 3x3, we're just making the little cross in the middle. And now we're going to make a little hat for him, which is actually fairly easy. We need some nether brick, we're actually going to need some black wool, and we've already got our red wool there. So we'll make a full block bit here, slabs all the way around to make a circle around his... There we are, we got the brim of his hat done. And then we want to take our red wool, make a little cross here, and then a final layer of black. And he's got a top hat. So we've done the hard bit of the snowman. All we need to do now is take some spruce slab and make some little arms going down half a block at a time, either side. There we go, we've got 2 arms. Add a carrot nose, and fortunately there is a nice red sandstone slab, which is nice and orange. Now, there is something missing quite obviously. Now you can use these witherhead skulls as buttons and as eyes. However, if you have the command ability, you can use this custom head, which is a much cleaner fit. And I will demonstrate how to get these custom heads a bit later on using command blocks, and it will be in the description and all that kind of stuff. But there we have it. There is our snowman, and he is pretty adorable. But you see what I mean? He is very big. He's almost as big as the house if you take a step back, but this is a very big step into making it seem very festive. So we got snow, we got our snowman, and then there's something that is pretty easy to do. Candy canes. All we need for this bit is some red and white concrete blocks. So we'll start with a red on the floor, and then you basically alternate until you hit about the height of the house, or maybe even a bit less, and curve it off around the top very simply, and there we have our candy cane. You make a few of these around the house, and there you have it. There we go, and we've added some candy canes. Now, you have to bear in mind that I'm showing you absolutely everything I can think of to make a house look more festive or Winter Wonderland-like. You don't have to do all of them. You can pick and choose the ones that you like the most and make it work. By the end of this video, this house will look so overwhelmingly festive that it's going to look silly. What we're going to do now is take ourselves some birch leaves, and we're going to sort of hang them in between each of these windows ledges. So if we place them either side here, add 2, and then 3, and then all the way along here. So there we have it. It goes all the way around in a nice U shape. Very gentle. Now the thing is, you might not have a house that looks like this. This video is meant to be universal for anyone to follow. You might have a completely different looking house. You've just got to find some very natural fitting areas for these to hang down. So for example, another area might be up here where we do this, and it just goes over the top of the windows and meets back here. Now we're going to mimic this on both sides, and there we have our decorations hanging down from the house. Now I've got these custom heads here. Now all you need to do for these custom heads is to place down a command block like so, grab your button. Now there's a website here where you go in and you can copy the command, and then you paste it in here, put done, press your button, and you will get the head that you put the command in for. Very, very simple. And you can find lots and lots of custom heads. If you're on the Grian network though, and you're in the creative world, you can do /decor. Right, so all I'm going to use are these baubles to decorate them, and they also look like lights, so they kind of double up. They're very bright, they're very colourful, very shiny looking, and they work quite well. There we go. And that has made a massive difference to the house already. That's probably my favourite tip out of all of these, is adding these nice lights that are hanging around. Now you can add these obviously all the way around the house. I am just focusing on the front of this for the time being. So our next couple of festive transformations that we're going to do actually take place on the inside of the house. So on the inside, we've got ourselves a fireplace, but we don't have ourselves a fireplace. We need to make one. And all I'm going to do is take the chimney that we've made and try and make a festive looking one. So all we do is basically etch in a little fireplace, and we need to make sure that this isn't going to catch a light because fire does spread, with the use of some polished andesite. And we can take ourselves some iron bars, cover it up, use some netherrack, set it on fire. There we have our nice fireplace. Now the next thing that we can do, which is a very quick one, very easy job to do, is you take an item frame, you take your boots, whatever, you place item frames over here, and then you have stockings. You can of course dye those as well to make them different coloured or make them red. It works all the same. And what would it be without a tree? We're going to make ourselves a tree to put our presents under. So instead of using a full block, I'm going to use a spruce fence because it's a bit thinner. Now I want to utilize the height of the building. Now some of you may have a building that's only 3 high, in which case you may struggle to fit in a tree. But if it is a slightly larger house like this one is, you should be okay to fit one in. Okay, so we've got ourselves a very quick tree. The key obviously is a very thin top, and it slightly goes fatter and fatter and fatter, and then it slightly goes in again. That's the key. You can of course use the bauble heads again if you want to decorate this in a similar fashion to the outside ones. Or if you're feeling brave, you can place mushrooms on the tree, and they kind of look like decorations. It does look a bit odd, I will admit, but it is a cheap way of doing it if you can't get your hands on these custom heads. I don't want to assume that everybody can, and likewise, if you can't get your hands on these heads, just use some coloured wool, some very light coloured wool, instead of the baubles. Now, it won't look the same, it will look slightly clunky, but it does do the job all the same. So we covered 3 things in there. We got our tree, we've got our fireplace, and we added some stockings as well. Now the next thing is presents. Now Mojang, normally when they do get closer to the festive season, they change it so that chests look like presents. They retexture them. They haven't done that yet. I guess it's a bit too early. So again, I've got some custom heads. Once they do update it, you can just use normal chests to be Christmas presents, but until then, you can just put some more custom heads under here. There we go, that looks pretty cool. And it's really starting to come together. This feels a lot more cozy already. Those of you that are very creative with banners will be able to make little wreaths, and that's what we've got here. Got a yellow one. This is basically loads of creeper heads. There's the sun in there. In fact, it's got all of the ones on there. We've got a yellow creeper charge, red skull charge, green flower charge, and a black roundel. And that, in the end, ends up looking quite a lot like a Christmas wreath. But if you're no good with banners, don't worry. What we can do is add some mistletoe. If we take our end rods and place them here with a bit of magic, well, did it, we can do this. You can take the bottom of the lilac and attach it to the end of end rods, and it looks a lot like mistletoe. However, these tricks probably will annoy those of you that don't have access to World Edit and all that kind of stuff, but there's plenty of ways to make your house look a lot more festive. Okay, so we're coming towards the end. There are a few more that we can do. Now, this is a cool one, and I've shown it on this channel many times before. It's smoke out of the chimney, but this is the first time I'm really going into detail on how to make it. So we need to go into our glass area, stained glass. We want to start off with the black, then grey, then light grey, and then white. This is our gradient, and we're going to start off by sort of placing it above the chimney, like so, and we're basically going to head up diagonally and outwards until we're going to use black all the way up to the top here. And that's probably about right. Yeah, that's probably about right. So we're going upwards, and now we want to take every, I don't know, 3 or 4 blocks, we want to change it to the next gradient. And we also want to make it a bit thicker as we go along. Switch over to our light grey. If it sort of drifts over, doesn't matter too much. And then finally ending with our white glass. And this one needs to be the puffiest of them all. Very thick indeed. Try and make it quite rounded, as it will then end up looking more like smoke. And there we have our base layer bit. Now what we want to do to make this look a bit more organic is take exactly the same blocks but in glass panes rather than full blocks, and then place them around blocks themselves, and sometimes even have them sitting in thin air. This just basically makes it have a bit more shape and makes it seem like the smoke's often going off in different directions as well. It can be quite difficult to make this look really natural and organic, and I must admit it's taken a while for me to get the hang of it, but all it takes is a little bit of practice, a lot of tweaking here or there. Always take a step back and look at what you've made. So these glass panes, what they do is they create corners, and it basically makes it look much smoother. So there we go. And once we take a step back, we can see that it really does look like smoke coming out of the chimney. Makes it seem like there's a roaring fire in the house, which of course there is. So that's a very cool one to do. Now this one might make my build look a bit rough. However, if you've got a very, very cold looking build, you might want to add some icicles in. It could make your house look quite nice. You might need to remove some of the overhang stuff, like so. However, on my build, it really doesn't work, but icicles is another way to make your house look more festive and complete. but of course on mine, it might be overkill. So I'm going to add a couple anyway, just to demonstrate the point, but I'm not going to overdo it if I can get away with it. Okay, so there is one more to do, and it's a doozy. We are going to make ourselves a Santa sleigh. Okay, so I've got all the blocks that I will be needing, and this is going to be a bit weird because it's going to kind of float on top of our build, so it might look a little bit strange, but when we're like over here and in the background, it won't look too bad. What we want to do is take our sandstone slab and place it adjacent to this layer of snow. And you can make it pretty much as long as you want or as short as you want, but you will need to have it semi-decent length so that you can have a decent looking sleigh on it. So I'm going to add intermittently 3 bits there. See, I've probably made that a little bit too long, so I'm going to shave off a couple of blocks. And that looks just about right for me. We're going to mimic this on the other side. Now, what we want to do is take our red concrete block, and we're going to now make the sleigh. So if we add a base to the sleigh, just sits in the middle of these two, and then we can create the front fairly easily by just adding on a few more blocks here, and then one on the top like so, and removing these ones. We can get that shape roughly in there. And now we can build Santa's chair itself by adding a bunch of dark oak planks, slabs, and staircases. It works quite well. Add a couple of trapdoors on the side, one here. And then at the back we need where all of the presents are going to be. So we basically want to create a little area of space for storage. And we can then add, well, anything you want really. Chests or would probably work, especially if they've got the reskinned parts of it. And then we could even take some of the custom heads like so and plonk them in there so that it looks like it's full up with presents. And then we have our sleigh itself finished. What we now need to do is add some reindeer. Okay, so what we're going to do is just extend this out a little bit, but it's very temporary because we're going to add birch fence gates here. And we're going to attach the reindeer to this, like, rope, I guess. It will make sense in the long run. So we place 2 little feet here, place another one on top, full block here, another full block here, and then we're going to add a little head. Like I said, this is a very crude looking reindeer, but it should make sense in the end. Now we're going to need a temporary block either side of him, and a couple of fence gates like so. Add another fence, and another temporary block either side. And there we have our reindeer as best we can. Now, we can, if you have access to the red bauble, add a little red nose on the end. See? Very cute. Now, we need more than one reindeer, unless it's a one-horse open sleigh. However, we can make some more. But it's going to need a little bit more imagination on the silhouette of a reindeer. Now, what we're going to need is 2 base blocks here, where we're going to put more birch fence, take them away, and that's sort of going to be like the rope that goes upwards. Now we need to take some more oak fence and make sure that he's in line with the other one. There we go. So we've got a half slab here, another one diagonally, and then we've got the little tail here as well. Now, essentially, we want to try and create exactly the same thing, like so. It does look a bit odd, but once it's all there together, it should make a lot of sense. We're going to need those support beams again to make this work. Either side on the fence gate, then fences, then another set, and we have the antlers as well. So there we go. And once we take a step back, it does look like there's a sleigh on there with the reindeer about to take off. It does work quite well. And there we have it. That is our festified house. We've got everything from fireplace, presents, snowman, snow, sleigh, smoke. If I had to choose the 3 that made the biggest difference, it would be these lights on the hanging bits, it would be the overall snow being added everywhere, and the snowman. Those 3 really make it happen. The smoke also makes a big difference, and of course the sleigh. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the sleigh, it's maybe a bit overkill, but this house has been through a serious transformation. It was a very plain suburban house, and now you can definitely tell what time of the year it is. So, hopefully, some of these will help you to transform your houses to be more in a festive cheer. So, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. All of the things you might need for the technical aspects will be in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye!